Senator Gardner. Senator Barrasso.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. Before I begin the questions, I'd like to really recognize my friend Pat Tyrrell for your incredible service to Wyoming. You're a native of Cheyenne, Wyoming. Past 18 years, you've served as a Wyoming state engineer. You're an expert when it comes to Western water and the law of the river. Wyoming sits at the headwaters of the Colorado River, so when snowmelt flows into the Green River and travels south, you know exactly what is going on. So from irrigation, ranching, power production, recreation, the water is centered to the way of life in southwest Wyoming, and you've been there. In face of nearly 2 decades of drought, new management practices are needed to sustain these uses for future generations, so I'm just so glad that you're here today to share your insights. That's why we have the drought contingency plan before us. It provides the flexibility while preserving long-standing water rights. It's the product of years of negotiation. I know you've been there, years of science, years of compromise. You understand the importance of strong coordination and consensus among state, and local, and federal parties, because you've had that leadership role when I was in the state Senate, and now in the time I'm in the U.S. Senate. I think our pretty much a direct overlap of our time together. So we're so pleased to have you with us here today to testify on behalf of the water users in Wyoming and in the Upper Basin. And I know many people in this room know Pat, worked with him over the decades, have come to respect his knowledge and of the subject matter. But you're testifying in the House tomorrow. I talked to Liz Cheney about that today. She said you're going to be in the House tomorrow, that this was kind of the warm-up act today. And then on Friday, you're going to be retiring from your job, but hold the title of Wyoming's longest-serving state engineer. So I know you're going to continue on a number of committees, continue to play an active role. I just want to specifically recognize you for the great work you've done for Wyoming and for water users throughout the West, and I just think I speak for many here in this room to just say thank you for your service.
Thank you.
In the few seconds I have remaining, Pat, you mentioned in your testimony that you believe that the drought contingency plan is going to serve to protect Wyoming water users from the risk of mandatory curtailment. Can you provide some details around that statement and maybe describe why Wyoming's water users should support the effort?
Certainly, thank you, Chairman McSally and Senator Barrasso. The risk of curtailment brings with it economic issues associated with people who can't use water to grow crops, or for municipalities or industries in the basin who might be junior to the 1922 compact. That curtailment is a dispassionate, mandatory turning off under our priority system of the uses of water. There are other risks as well. Among them are the funding that comes from Lake Powell that goes towards salinity control and endangered fish recovery, also allow upper basin states to develop more of their unused apportionment. Those programs are critical to our development. Losing them risks our water users.
Any other risk would be avoided by implementing this program?
Senator Barrasso, one of the risks we've always tried to avoid in this basin, the reason we have 7 states here today, is the risk of interstate litigation. We obviously want to avoid that because that's not a winning situation for this group. So I would certainly offer that as another risk avoidance.
And under the Upper Basin Drought Response Operations Agreement, some water may be moved out of the CRSP initial units, including Flaming Gorge, and in order to support critical levels in Lake Powell. Flaming Gorge provides significant recreation and economic benefits to southwestern Wyoming. So can you explain why this is necessary and what plans are in place for Flaming Gorge or any of the initial units to recover if they move more water to Lake Powell?
Thank you for that question. By the way, I retire Monday and not Friday unless I do really poorly tomorrow. Chairman McSally, Senator Barrasso, the drought response operations to which you refer, first understand that Lake Powell is paramount, and protecting that power pool and the ability to get water out keeps all the lights on, all those programs running, protects the grid, et cetera. The Bureau will move water down that is uncommitted from other reservoirs to protect Lake Powell. What our agreement gets us is a seat at the table to influence how that occurs involve our stakeholders, and it does not, if we ever have to enter drought operations, which we hope we don't, we hope it's a plan we create and never have to use, then it is not complete until those reservoirs are recovered. The states were successful in getting recovery into that plan.
So then, under the plan, will Wyoming ever be required to send more water to the lower basin than currently required?
No. Mr. Senator, all it does is allow us to continue to comply with the 07 guidelines and the existing law of the river, makes them more sustainable.
Well, again, I just want to thank you for the work you've done. I appreciate the good work you've done for Wyoming, serving as our state engineer. Thanks so very much. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Barrasso. I'll now go for